is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. It's the best one, Donnie here, back with a brand new episode of Hot Takes. Glad I waited today to do this because we had lots of chaos happen with AEW All Out after such a great show. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, the best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course, you guys already know the grind is real, and we are so close to 2,000 subscribers. When we get there, we are going to be doing a massive giveaway. We're going to be giving away some figures, and we got, an autograph and a couple other things that we're going to announce when, we get to 2,000. So if you want to help support the channel, hit that subscribe button now. So, this week's episode of Hot Takes, we got to talk about what happened last night. I know you guys got a watch along, you got some reactions, even, the CM Punk chaos thing with, the press conference, the media scrum. It was a shit show. And, I had a night's sleep to really think about things because I knew I was going to come on here and talk about the whole CM Punk thing because I got some really hot takes that I feel like, a lot of people in the wrestling community probably might think I'm crazy for some of these hot takes. And that is why we have this series here on the We Are Wrestling channel. It's supposed to really get your gears going. It's really supposed to really think about what is going on. And this is the whole point of Hot Takes here. And I don't know, maybe I needed to give myself more time about this, but I think I got my mind made up and I can't wait to share it with you guys. But let me give you guys the background of this whole situation that is going on with this whole media scrum. So, last night after All Out, usually AEW after their pay-per-views, they always like to do these media scrums where Tony Khan will answer questions from the media, and usually, superstars, AEW guys, will, sit with Tony Khan and answer questions. So last night at All Out, CM Punk, was the first one to come up to the press conference and sit with Tony Khan and answer questions. And it looked like the first question he asked was about Colt Cabana, which you all know the history behind CM Punk and Colt Cabana. They are no longer friends, and I think CM Punk definitely made that clear, calling him, Scott Cabana. It was a shit show last night, and there's a lot of memes now with Tony Khan, which I'm sure I'm going to be putting them in here throughout, Hot Takes. But a little bit, insight happened. There were reports also after this whole CM Punk Pike bomb during this media thing. The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega threatened to walk out because CM Punk, kind of took some shots at the EVPs and, Hangman and also Colt Cabana. And they were not happy at all about that whatsoever. And it's a lot of chaos going on. But the first thing that I want to say, and I believe I did say this in my reaction video, I don't think that CM Punk looked good at all when he did this. I think he picked, if he was going to talk about this, he should have did it on a podcast or something else. He shouldn't have gone during this, after this great pay-per-view. MJF comes back. He should have definitely, waited for this because he took away everything that they did last night by going on there and going into business for himself. Something that, he took shots about at Hangman, even though literally last night, I know it's been probably pissing CM Punk off. As, a human being, I don't blame the guy, but being professional, he shouldn't have done that last night at all because it took away everything that they did. Because this show actually, for time-wise, they did a really good job last night. being, from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock, the regular show. If you include the pre show, it was 5 hours. But I think timing wise, this was actually pretty good. Booking wise, I don't know. Ricky Starks losing clean in 5 minutes was not the best decision. Jericho beating Danielson, I really don't know about that. The Acclaim should have definitely won the tag team belts. The thing is, I feel like, and this is where, the hot take comes in. We're either going to be seeing CM Punk leave wrestling again, or I could definitely see the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Adam Page, when their contracts expire, going to WWE. Because that is one thing Cody Rhodes did, and I know a lot of people probably were pissed off about Cody Rhodes' decision, leaving All Elite Wrestling, something he built, and, try to continue the Rhodes legacy by going back to WWE. I know a lot of people, were very upset about Cody Rhodes leaving, but I think a lot of people now, after seeing the whole backstage drama with AEW and Tony Khan having literally no control over any of his talent, Cody might have made the right decision. Same with, Karrion Kross and Johnny Wrestling and these guys that are all coming back to WWE now. That's the thing. I definitely see either CM Punk, leaving because he's sick of working with children, or I can definitely see the Young Bucks, Kenny, and, Hangman Page going to WWE and trying to become stars over there. That's something that we have never seen. Kenny Omega has never been in WWE before. Hangman is still young, has lots of potential, especially with that buckshot lariat. If they keep him, the way he is presented in AEW, he could definitely be a main event guy in WWE. And of course, the Young Bucks can definitely elevate any tag team division that they're in because they're one of the best tag teams in the world. And hearing these reports now, you could definitely see a divide between the locker room here. And I think that this is what's going to make this storyline with MJF and CM Punk very interesting to watch because, the story behind this, they want MJF to be the heel because MJF, is the greatest heel right now in professional wrestling. But I think CM Punk in this case is going to be the heel because this man keeps digging himself a hole. And he's just picking, horrible times to be unprofessional. And him, going on there last night, talking about the Cole Cabana thing. I get it from, a human perspective because CM Punk, has been best friends with Cole Cabana for over a decade. And, what happened was, very shitty. But there are also both sides to every story. And I wonder if Cole Cabana is actually going to, speak out about it. I feel like Cole Cabana is not going to because he doesn't really care for the drama. But we'll have to see. CM Punk did not look good at all last night. But I think the person that didn't look good at all through this the most has got to be Tony Khan. The fact that Tony Khan was sitting there letting CM Punk go on this rant about the Young Bucks and Kenny, the EVPs, going off about the guys who helped you build All Elite Wrestling is just freaking mind-boggling to me. Absolutely craziness happened, and I really don't blame the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega for leaving. But here's what I think is going to happen. I feel like Tony Khan is going to make the wrong decision here, and I feel like with Kenny Omega's contract expiring next year and, Young Bucks in 2024 and Adam Page, I definitely see these guys going to WWE. That's my hot take. I think, the Elite, they are going to go to WWE if nothing changes. I think, CM Punk, I do. One thing I will say that I do side with CM Punk. There's one thing during this that I have to agree with him on. And that is these young guys, they need to take advice from these veterans who have busted their asses and they've been doing this for their whole lives. They have such great legends in AEW backstage that these young guys can take advice from, like Dean Malenko, Jerry Lynn, Mark Henry, even, Paul White, Big Show. there are so many legends that are in AEW, especially Jim Ross, who, has been, doing commentary for such a long time in the wrestling business. Some of these young guys, they really need to take advice from these, veterans, but they care more about five-star classics from a guy named Dave Meltzer, which is pretty freaking sad. I do side with CM Punk from that perspective, but going off about personal things with Colt Cabana, talking about his mom and like money, this and that. CM Punk should have definitely, if, he was upset about the Colt Cabana thing, should have, did a podcast or something like that. Or, try to figure things out backstage because this does not look good for the company itself. And during this, CM Punk, is trying to, be the company guy, but when you're going on here taking shots, especially at the EVPs of All Elite Wrestling, the guys who created All Elite Wrestling for you, CM Punk, to actually freaking come back to wrestling, that's a slap in the face, I think, to them. And having Tony Khan just sit there and take that shit, that, was not right at all. Tony Khan should have, definitely cut the mic from CM Punk and had him. But now this is a situation very similar to Shawn Michaels in the Attitude Era. CM Punk, I can see now why Triple H does not want to work with him or WWE. I definitely see why, and it sucks because personally, I am a huge CM Punk fan. Still love CM Punk. One of the best in the ring, best in the world. But right now, I'm looking at this from a company perspective, and if I was Tony Khan, I am going to have MJF versus CM Punk at Full Gear. MJF wins the AEW World Title, and I let go of CM Punk. That is what I would do if I was, running AEW. It sucks because CM Punk, is one of the best in the world, but with all the drama and all the stuff going on, I would rather have a roster that has, great chemistry, and I'd rather, have no drama go on because, if AEW wants to beat WWE, they gotta, focus on AEW. And that's something that I was always saying before the All Out thing, was they really got to start focusing on their product. And that's the issue with AEW. They, are trying, to do this whole Forbidden Door thing, and it's cool when you do it like, if they just stopped it after Forbidden Door and, they focused on AEW for All Out, because a lot of these matches were last minute that I did not like. But for chemistry, like, I really think that they're going to have to make a decision, and it's going to be a tough one because this locker room is divided, and the more this locker room gets divided, this is going to be a very similar situation to TNA in 2010, WCW after, the whole, finger poking thing. This is going to be a really shitty situation, and if I were AEW, I would definitely get that championship on MJF and continue focusing on their homegrown talent. And for CM Punk, like, they gotta tell him, like, look, you gotta put your ego to the side, or unfortunately, you're gonna have to go. Because CM Punk was taking shots at, a lot of people in this press conference, and it did not make the company look good at all. And, like, yeah, some of the things CM Punk says, like, I do agree with some of the stuff. Do not get me wrong, but going on there, speaking and, taking away MJF's return, taking away all the freaking pros during this show, I do not blame the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega for threatening to leave. Because literally, like, everybody was so shocked about MJF, and now you go on wrestling Twitter, more people are talking about CM Punk with the whole media thing and the whole backstage drama. They pretty much freaking let the drama disappear during All Out with how good the show was, and then CM Punk did that. And it's just it really sucks because for me, I still enjoy AEW a lot more than WWE, but there are some things that Tony Khan, he needs to make some decisions. because I think long term he is going to regret letting go of the Young Bucks and Kenny and Hangman, because I think if their contracts are up and this whole CM Punk thing is not under control, they leave, they go to WWE. But I think that if things can get under control, they will stay with AEW because they are, committed, they're dedicated to it. And I'm very surprised that Hangman hasn't gone on and, spoke about, how he felt. I'm very surprised. And I think that just really shows you the characteristics about him, not only as a wrestler, but as a human being. And I think, a lot of people really have to consider that. And, I think a lot of people really, they don't understand why CM Punk hates a guy like Hangman. Hangman seems like he's one of the nicest guys. But last night was absolutely crazy. I'm giving you guys my hot takes here. I, really think that it's going to happen. I think if, nothing can get under control, the Elite, they will be going to WWE at some point. But let me know in the comment section below, guys, what you think about the whole CM Punk situation. Would you guys keep CM Punk over the Elite? Or, would you let go of the Elite and let them go to WWE? Let me know in the comment section below. But if you guys enjoyed this week's episode of Hot Takes, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, help support by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on post notifications. The links are down in the description below. You can go follow me on my social medias and other YouTube pages. All the links are down below. And of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, the greatest is back, MJF. He has returned, and I will be doing an extra on MJF because I definitely need to talk about him at some point this week. But to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs, we are taking over. Peace.